Hi guys, my name is Sean. I'm a houseplant enthusiast from Jakarta, Indonesia. I'd like to share with you some of my secrets on plant care and propagations, and I go species by species in great detail. This is so that you can gain some confidence and hopefully discover some cool species because not only are plants beautiful, but the process of caring for them is quite interesting as well. So in my hand here, we have the Tradescantia Nanouk, and it's Tradescantia family obviously, but it's considered a very slow growing one for a Tradescantia, and it's got this beautiful light green and pink variegations on the leaf and on the stems. And I actually got this plant from one single cutting, and I kept cutting and propagating it, sticking it back into soil and expanding the pot size until I got this specimen here, which I'm quite happy with the size. But as you can see, if I kept growing it in this pot, it's going to get unruly, it's going to get crazy, and it actually does trail down after it gets to a certain height. And actually they do lean towards the light quite a bit, so if you have it on like a shelf, it's going to trail down and towards the light. However, I have this sort of outdoors getting dabble direct sunlight where it's right above it, so it continues to grow upwards that way. This plant actually likes bright indirect light all the way up to partial sunlight, direct sunlight that is, because if you give it a medium light, it will revert to green, and I have some example to show you later. And if you give it more light, it's going to encourage that beautiful pink that we want with this plant. And you have to be very careful with watering this plant because it's actually very, very prone to overwatering it, to rotting out. So the stems will just turn to mush, and you will lose the whole stem if you overwater it. So you have to be very, very careful about this plant. If I were you, I would err a little bit on the underwatering side. And you can also, again, with most plants, you can squeeze one of the leaves and you can feel it. If it feels nice and firm, then don't water it just yet. Also, you can measure for me this is a plastic pot, I measure the weight of the pot. This is actually sopping wet right now because it just rained really hard. And do let them dry out completely. They can withstand a little bit of drought period, no problem. However, if you leave them to dry out for too long, they're going to start having, I don't have any on this plant right now, they're going to start having these crisping edges. This plant actually does well both indoors and outdoors. I can't say which one it does better in because yeah, they just do well in both lights. And I'm actually looking at this plant in my hand right now, and I see that it's actually put out aerial roots right here, which means that this is I guess for you to see where the plants will root. They actually root right around this, so the area where this leaf come out from, that's a node. And as you can see just from this stem, there's already a lot of nodes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nodes. This has the potential to become 5 plants. And in some of the nodes here, what I wanted to point out was that it's putting out aerial roots already. I actually haven't noticed that from this plant until now, but yeah, it's ready for me to cut up and put into soil. It's asking me to do it, in fact. And from the place that you make the cut, actually, it will branch out from below. So don't worry about making a cutting from this plant. And I would fertilize this plant a little bit, not too much. Pretty much standard with any of your house plants. And I've actually never had any pest issues with this one, knock on wood. Of course, as I said, I might find something. No, I don't. Yeah, this is a pretty easy grower for me. Again, it does quite like a bit of light, so that's my advice for you. Bright light and do not overwater. Other than that, this is a good plant that everybody would stop and look at it and stare at it because it's so beautiful, and it's a good one to share with your friends and family. I'm gonna bring you to the propagation table to show you how this plant is propagated, and I'm gonna give you a few months update on how the cuttings are doing. So as I promised you, to green. Actually, I quite like the combination of the pink and the green in the leaf. So this one, as you can see, I made the cut over here and it branched out over the side. This is actually quite a few cuttings in one, and it should grow pretty big. I think this is about 2 to 3 months old. I can't remember. Okay, so before anything happens, I'm actually going to try to see the roots. This one is mush. I think this one's rot, as you can see here. I think this is a young plant and it was overwatered, so it's mush. And I don't know if I can salvage this because I don't see a node, but maybe I'll try to stick this into soil to see if it will root. But it happens from time to time. Again, they really don't like to be watered much at all. So I noticed the pot is sopping wet, so let me try to do it carefully. Tradescantias, they have really fine hair-like roots. They can be, yeah, as you can see here, there's still a lot of room in this pot. And here maybe you can see the roots are actually very tiny amounts, very hair-like and fine. So let me put this back in here. What it's telling me, since it's got area in there for more roots, I'm going to get a trusted pencil and my pruning shears. I'm going to start cutting this up. So this is where the one with the aerial root. I'm just going to snip it right here. And from here, I'm going to turn this into... This is too big of a cutting, actually. So what I can do is I can turn this into two different plants. Snip. So this one can go straight into the soil. Let me do that, actually. And I'm actually going to move this into my bedroom. This was living outside, but I have to move it to my bedroom because I can control the moisture better when I have it in my care when it's indoors. Because when it's out here, it's raining mercilessly every day. So yeah, I can't really control how much water it gets. And again, it's been raining a lot lately, which is why this pot is actually sopping wet. But the more plants that you have in here, the better it is at absorbing that water. Just stick that right into there and just wait, and it will take root. And for the other cutting that I got over here, this is actually too many leaves. If you take a cutting off a plant, first of all, this section here is going to be submerged into, because the root is going to come out from this node, this leaf is going to rot. And secondly, if you have too many leaves, the plant cannot decide what to do, as the leaves do need nutrients and water to survive, so it's going to extract it from the node and from where we cut it below. However, if there's not enough nutrient and water, the leaf is going to die out anyways. Instead, the plant should focus all its energy into building roots around the node. So yeah, I'm going to take that leaf off. So when you do this, the plant is actually, this is a healthier cutting. I may actually even take off one more leaf over here because this is too much energy being drained by the leaf. We want the energy to be focused on the roots. Perfect. Now we have two nodes here, and we can actually plant this this deep into the soil. So there's two nodes that's going to be rooted. I'm going to poke a hole and just stick this inside. So I've been doing this for the last few months. I mean, I would say that this project took about 9 months to 10 months to get to this size from one cutting. And one cutting is actually expensive. Well, I got it for about 150,000 Indonesian rupiah, and this was before the pandemic. So I cannot imagine the prices now. And let me see, I can take off some more actually. I will take some of the ones with taller leaves. Actually, this one already got aerial roots. Perfect. So again, I'm going to take this off. And if you see that roots, it's ready to go. And for this, this cutting, I would actually only take, I would take this much. So there's going to be 2 leaves. And yeah, I'm going to stick this straight into, you know what? I'm going to, for this, I'm going to stick in the soil. I'm going to do one in water in a bit. So let me do this one first. Just stick it right in. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to move on to another pot actually. This one is one single, it was actually a tiny cutting before, and as you can see it kept growing, and there's something ate it, I'm not sure. But I'm not worried, because what I can do is I can just, let me see, where do I want to cut it? I'll cut it off right here actually. Take off one here, and I'll take off one of the leaves. And just go ahead and stick it right back next to it, to the soil. It's very, very simple. Sorry, you're not seeing this. Off. Yeah, if I back up a bit, you can see it. And you're all set. Now we have 2 cuttings in one plant. We do have one extra cutting here that I've prepared propagating vessel. So I'm going to take off one more leaf again. And I'm going to just do this one in water. I want to see the roots emerge. In fact, I can do 2 in water. Hang on one second. I'm going to do one more. Right here. And I've got another cutting here actually. So this one I'm actually going to put it, it's so messy here. There's too many things going on. I'm not gonna remember which ones are the propagates. But I assume like with any of these, I think about maybe a quarter of it may die off. The propagation rate for Tradescantias are actually lower than a lot of the other plants. They actually tend to rot off quite often, I would say. Maybe about 25% failure rate. So yeah, this is a good excuse for you to propagate more because the failure rate is quite high. With this one, I'm actually quite okay with the way it is. So I'm just gonna plop this into my propagation bottle. Yeah, and I'll see you in a few weeks. Bye. So we are at exactly 2 weeks from the propagation time, and this plant has rooted. Tradescantias are one of the fastest rooting plants that I know, and yeah, I think this is pretty much ready. And I'm going actually with Leca for this one, actually, because I have so many plants already in pots, and I'm beginning to like that feeling of Leca in a glass jar. I'm beginning to like that root porn action going on. So I'm going to show you how I set it up. So first thing that I want to do is I want to take a cotton twine or any kind of yarn will do with any kinds of absorbency. And I just want to tie a little loop here, maybe a little loop in the end. I don't know why I do it. Maybe I've seen someone do it subconsciously. I'm not sure, so I tied both ends. I'm just gonna leave this underneath the pot, and I'm gonna put in my Lecas. So the idea is that I want to have this the bottom of the twine underneath here, and then the top will be almost at the top of the soil of the Leca, I mean. And this means that the water would be wicked up more evenly to the top by this string here. Without this string, I found that the Leca would be a lot more wet below than it is on the top. So this ensures more even distribution of water. And I love this guy. I got this from a wine shop that I got last week, and I thought that it would be very befitting for this Tradescantia. Look, this is not sponsored by any means. Not sponsored, to disclaimer. So I'm going to start putting my cutting in. I'm going to hold it up here. And I've been enjoying this with one of my jungle cacti. Love how it's looking, so I figured I want one of each plant species in Leca and kind of have that kind of setup. Make sure I still have that string. Okay. Okay, so now that I'm almost to the top, I'm just gonna find a place to just let the string hang out. And you want to adjust your plant so that it's standing beautifully. The thing with Leca is that it does move around quite a bit, so your plants are a little bit on the wobbly side. And I am all set. Perfect. So I'm going to fill this up like this high with water, and once in a while I'll add a little bit of that grow more fertilizer into the water. Very, very tiny amounts, only because unlike pots with holes in the bottom that will flush away excess salt in the fertilizer, this obviously doesn't have it, so that fertilizer is going to sit in there for a long time. So I'm going to just use very, very, very minute amounts. Yeah, so I'll see you in a few months. I'll give you some more updates on all the cuttings. Welcome to a 8 weeks update of the plant. Let me quickly show you the one that we propagated. I'm going to put on the screen what the old cutting, the old plant looked like right after I propagated. It's grown a lot, and it's actually lives raining right now, by the way. It lives up here on this shelf, so it gets a little bit of direct sunlight. It gets watered very frequently. It gets rained on, and I do hose it down every day. So it's doing really, really well. Oh my god, I'm very, very happy with this, because this one, the main plant, did not do so well. And this is because I actually put it in my balcony. I don't know why I did that. And I put it on a shelf that's like that. This is the height of the shelf on my balcony. So I thought it would get rained on every day, which it did, until it didn't rain for a few days and I underwatered. I forgot completely about it. So I had some leaves that were lost. They were crisping off. Anyways, Tradescantias, their old leaves, they don't last very long. Like their leaves do expire and they become scraggly with new leaf coming up on top with just a bare stem. So that's the growth pattern of Tradescantias. That's why you always have to keep propagating them, cutting them back. And when you do that, you can see that new branches are, okay, this is so cute. Look at this particular one. It's trying to grow out of this little stump. Yeah, all of these are basically branching out. And I know that you guys are looking at this and thinking, oh my God, it looks so much better before I cut it. But it's only been 2 months and look at all these new growths. So these are all like going to take over the pot. They're gonna get very, very bushy. So give it time. The plant will get really bushy and really healthy. You know, and this one's even trying to push each other out of the way. Very cute. Yeah, and then this one that I did in Leca is actually doing quite okay. I'm not sure how I feel about Leca. I'm confused about it, but I like watching the roots form on these plants. But this is not doing that well in my opinion because a lot of the leaves are prematurely crisping up. So I don't know, but the new leaves are beautiful. They are healthy and this feels succulent-like. It doesn't feel like it's in stress. So I'm gonna just say that I guess this plant is doing all right. I'm not gonna vouch for Leca. I definitely think it's an interesting experience and I'll keep it in Leca and I will update you guys maybe on my Instagram. And this is the other one that we did with that reverted one and it keeps putting out reverted Tradescantia. Oh, it's raining really hard now. But yeah, it's growing. This is growing. They're actually very prolific growers. They're not as fast as the Zebrinas, but they're fast to root. And before I go, I got a plant and this came in the mail too, but I have a feeling this is a Tradescantia as well, just judging from the growth pattern. And Planet Daddy Podcast has a really beautiful episode on Tradescantias and I recommend for you guys to watch it because there's so many species of them and yeah, we've only covered like some of the more mainstream ones. And this is one that is fuzzy. I'm gonna leave the name of the species on the screen because I don't remember it. I killed this plant and I had only, look at the baby leaf, how cute. I only had one stump left and this is what grew from that one stump. So I'm amazed. I kept cutting it and sticking it back into the potting mix. So this one is particularly susceptible to root rot because it's also fuzzy. The leaves are very, very fuzzy. So and the stem, so I forgot to mention, the stem is also very fuzzy. So they rot really easily because there's a lot of surface area for them to rot. I still haven't figured out the conditions that they like, but I will, and maybe in a year's time I'll do a video about it. But these are very beautiful. It's raining right now, so you can't really see the white fuzz because these leaves are wet. But maybe you can see from the baby leaves just how fuzzy they can be. Very, very cute plant. This is like very similar to the Peperomia incana. And yeah, the lower leaves again here are falling off, just like a lot of the Tradescantias. They will only have a bare stem with healthy leaves in the end. This is just how they grow. There's nothing you can do about it. So you can cut it, stick it back, and something will grow out of the nodes before that. So this is how you grow Tradescantias actually. I'm pretty sure all of them have a similar type of growth pattern. So just keep cutting them back, keep propagating them, and share it with people that you like, people that you love, people that you care about. Anyways, it's starting to rain really bad. I'm gonna leave. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm at Botanist on Instagram. Do DM me if you have any questions regarding plant care and propagation. I will try my best to get back to you. Meanwhile, do take care and stay safe. I will see you in the next episode. Bye.